you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Mahalo.
That's right. We are here to discuss a brand new entry into the long-running, I wouldn't even say cult favorite, I would say fan favorite, horror sci-fi action franchise, Predator, with Predator Badlands. And I'm actually very glad that Mahalo ended up being the one that was able to join me for this advanced screening. Because, man, I don't know. I knew you liked Predators enough. Like, people like Predator if they know the race is called the Yautja. I didn't even know they were the Yautja until I started hanging out more with Robert. And Robert started calling them Yautja. You just called them Yautja. I realized, in passing conversation. So clearly, you've been a long-time Predator fan. So just... we'll give our brief history with the Predator franchise real quick. I've always loved it. I might be a bigger Predator fan than a lot of people out there, only insofar as I don't hate Predators or The Predator the way everyone else seems to. I quite like both movies for different reasons. People hate The Predator. I really enjoy that movie. I think the big, giant alpha predator was so dope. There's a lot. So I've liked every installment of the franchise except AVP Requiem. That one was just too dark, and I mean dark as in, in exposure, not in subject matter. So I love the Predator franchise. However, Prey was the biggest breath of fresh air into a franchise that we'd seen in many, many years. Prey was made by director Dan Trachtenberg, who also made Predator, what was the anthology?
Killer of Killers.
Killer of Killers, the animated anthology that came out a little bit ago, and he made Predator Badlands. I have very much enjoyed those other two movies, and it was a matter, is Dan Trachtenberg going to be 3 for 3 in the Predator franchise? And my overall thoughts are abso-fucking-lutely. This movie was awesome. It was so fun. It felt like the feeling I got was the same feeling that I used to get during badass action movies in the 80s and 90s. I don't know that I'd go so far as to say your Terminator 2s, but definitely your Terminators, your True Lies, your Last Action Heroes, these kinds of just fun action movies with a bit of levity here and there. This was sort of a return to that, in my estimation. The effects were awesome. Very big budget had to be with the amount of effects needed in this movie, but I don't think any of them really faltered effects-wise. I loved this movie that had way more story than I anticipated it having. Yes, the story is young, a Yautja Youngblood. He's not a full Yautja yet, going to prove himself on this planet, this most deadly planet in the universe kind of thing. But I didn't realize how much more story there was going to be to the character, which in retrospect, I should have figured, I suppose, but it was a lovely surprise. And the whole movie was just so much fun. It's just why you go to the movies, in my opinion, or one of the big examples of why you go to the movies. If that's not gushing too hard, on the movie right out of the gate. Mahalo, how about you?
Well, I mean, if they retire to being gushed, I'm going to be a gusher again, because I was excited the moment we sat down to the moment it started up with the open wording, and then the flat open to where are we at again? Yautja Prime.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Again. It was awesome. And I told you before, I just love how fast they moved from the very beginning of Deck's story to right into the meat and potatoes of it. It felt like an adventure. It felt awesome. I was kind of worried about how you would lead with a Predator, but Deck was awesome. He was a great lead to have. And the side, what was the character's name again? The android.
Thea.
Thea, yeah, Thea. At first, I was so
You know how I
annoyed where
remember
you're
that?
supposed to be.
People are going to find this so funny. The reason I remember that is because Thea was the name of the little girl in Jaws the Revenge.
Oh, good callback. Good callback.
I probably spelled differently. I think it was Thea for that movie, but yeah, that's why it stuck in my head. So, hey,
The
people are gonna hate me.
landscaping, the visuals was awesome.
Production design
From the
was incredible,
creatures to the landscapes, it felt natural and real and alive. It felt like a world lived in, and then just kind of interacting with maybe props here or there. And the creatures, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It was awesome. I can't stop talking about it. I thought about it the whole way. I listened to a whole video about the history of some Yacha stuff again on the way home from watching it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see further stories, either in continuing with Dex or moving on to another one. But I think with this, they've shown that Yacha can lead roles and still be scary too, still be awesome.
This might be one of the most successful franchise pivots in cinema history, as far as getting away from what the franchise is known for doing, which is humans versus or multiple predators. That's going to inherently change when the predator is the lead, but I mean, you don't realize how much that changes when you just make the predator the lead, but it's still so engaging, but for just kind of different reasons than Predator movies are normally engaging. And it's so fun as a result of that. So again, story-wise, we're not going to spoil anything in this. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, which includes some of the setup, I'll be honest. The first 10 minutes sets up Deck's motivation for the entire movie. And it's a lot. It was just a lot more than I anticipated. Like Mahalo said, we start on Yacha Prime, which is so funny because I just finished covering Predator: Black, White, and Blood, the most recent Marvel comic book series. That's an anthology series, and one of the stories is one human in a giant wildlife arena versus a number of predators on Yacha Prime. So I had just seen Yacha Prime in comic book form, and then we got to see Yacha Prime on big screen. It was dope as hell. But again, it's the very first scene, so I don't consider that a spoiler. We won't say what happens. That would be a spoiler. But it is a really cool setup, and you buy into the story. It made me buy into the story so heavily. And then Deck goes to prove himself. We saw in the trailer that he's the runt of the litter. Or the runt of the litter, a runt of the Yacha clans, or race, I should say, not clans, because clans are separate from the Yacha race. In this,
he's a little smaller.
Yeah, he's like you pointed out, he's kind of the size of a big human. But that's it's funny. You can tell that in a couple of shots, but otherwise, he's just as vicious as any predator we've ever seen put to screen. So you don't get that. You still imagine him. I still imagine him bigger than he actually is, just because he acted so vicious and stuff. But yeah, it's about him trying to hunt down this massive beast that we see in the trailer, and it's a beast that no other Yacha has been able to take down, and so he is going to do that to prove himself because he is the most underestimated of all the Yacha as a result of him being a runt.
Considered the weakest.
I would say even more than underestimated, but we won't go beyond that. So yeah, that's the long and short of the story without spoiling anything. Of course, in his efforts to take down this massive creature, he happens across Elle Fanning's character, Thea, as Mahalo pointed out, the half-bodied synthetic that is on the planet. For other reasons, which we won't get into, but they team up in order to kind of make their way through the wilderness of this most dangerous planet in the universes. And it was just a tremendously entertaining romp. Like, it only stopped to take a breath every now and again, and during those moments we got character development. So it was extraordinarily well crafted and well paced action movie. So yeah, story-wise, I was very pleased. It was, again, we're not going to spoil anything, but it was a lot deeper of a story for such a simple overall premise, that I was very pleased with what we got and how it played out. How about you?
Yeah, I mean the pacing was fantastic. Again, the first 10 minutes of the movie, I love that they got that compacted right there. That was awesome. Sets you up for the rest of the meat and potatoes of the movies. And man, do you get full off it. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Like you said, it's moving and then it gives you time to breathe. But even in that time to breathe, you have character development. You find yourself laughing at something that's happening within the situation. I don't think there was any point in the movie where I was distracted from the movie or anything in the movie distracted me from the overall plot moving forward. And just the buildup of Deck and his character through Thea. I mean, this is how you do it. You said it. This is how you do it.
It is pretty much, a thesis statement on how to successfully. It's a buddy cop movie. I mean, essentially,
Yeah.
it's two goods versus a bunch of bads, and with some surprise elements and maybe some surprise alliances along the way. Which, what I loved about this movie is the tightness of the script as well, because everything comes back. I knew, like, at one point, right after he crash lands, he encounters this thing, this little piece of fauna, and it does a thing, and he tosses it aside, and it does another thing, and I was like, well, that's gonna come back. And it's but even the things that I didn't anticipate coming back came back around, and I was like, oh, that was well seated, that was well scripted, well done. So very pleasing setup, setup, knockdown, payoff kind of situation.
Oh yeah. And again, Dan Trachtenberg, geniusly done. I hope he does not stray away from this franchise at any point in time. I hope that this is the man they build it up off of.
I will say there was an entire stretch where my eyes were so peeled looking for any tie-in of another kind, where I was like, is there a symbol? Is there going to be? And then you and I both, at one point in the movie, we were like, was that a? And then it was like, oh, it wasn't, but bats, but still. Yeah. The fact that we had so much fun even without that was it's a testament to the movie's successes. So acting wise, again, it's not a ton. It's 2 human actors total, right? And then that, again, not spoiling anything, 2 human actors total plus Deck and a couple of other Yautjas. But the acting was phenomenal. I particularly think Elle Fanning's synth was such a well-drawn character, and she did such a great job portraying Thea. It's like, I liked Thea a bit more than I liked the synth in Romulus, even though he was a really engaging and interesting character as well. I think they're doing a really good job of spotlighting synths with more going on than we're used to having synths do. Like, the synths in Badlands and Romulus were so much better than all the synths in Alien Earth. So
see, I think there's a reason why they're pushing the synths though so hard, right? Because how many human deaths until it's a rated R movie?
Well, true. No, it's a good point. Yeah, because they could, like, that was a big kerfuffle with this movie leading up to the release about a month and a half ahead of time, when they announced it was going to be a PG-13 movie instead of a rated R Predator movie for the first time. But the entire thing takes place on an alien planet with a Predator who already has green blood versus a bunch of other aliens. The only reason gore is R-rated is because it's red. If gore is any other color, green, blue, yellow, orange, that's why Tremors could get away with all the gore that it did and still was PG. Actually, I don't know. Tremors might have still been R for the language, but either way, that the tremors, the graboid gore was orange. You know, like if your gore is not red, you can get away with a ton. And let me be honest, there was a ton of gore in this movie. It just wasn't red.
It was good. It was good. They don't. It's just like you said. It's because it's not red and it's not a human. No humans were harmed in the making of this film.
Right. Full circle in the cinematic world. So what did you think of the acting?
Alfani, we were going back to the beginning. I didn't think I was going to like her character when she was first introduced, and I grew to love her so fast. And I couldn't decide at one point who I liked more or which character I was rooting for more at any point in time. Because, like you said, there's 2 human actors and a bunch of synths. Impressive.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and then Deck. I mean, granted, I know his face is majority probably going to be CGI, but the emotion and the character actor himself, fan-freaking-tastic. The
I was
little head movements.
The same thing.
Little head movements of things.
Him and another character that is very important in that first 10 minutes. The emotion, the emoting that they were able to get across in just... Because, again, they don't have mouths, per se, to get across emotion. So it's all eyebrow acting. And, dude, for only having this, I was like, oh, my God, they're so good at getting across what each of these characters are feeling just by, like, there's anger, there's frustration, there's tenacity, but there's also... like sorrow, there's also concern, there's also like all of these things that we've never seen emoted from a predator before, because every time we've seen a predator's face revealed, it's a final confrontation where it's always and angry brows, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But like when you just give them the ability to move their brows into different positions, holy fuck, does it become a different ball game. And it's like, wow, it's crazy how no one's ever thought to do this before, and the first person that did it in Trachtenberg has done it so successfully.
I think we're kind of been catered to a little bit here because we have movies like Apocalyptico, right? They kind of got us ready to watch.
That's a pull. Wow.
Right, but it kind of got us ready for something like this, a movie about a character speaking a language that is not common to anybody else,
fair
right?
Play, yeah.
And now we're having more of those kinds of movies happening. So now we get a chance to one of the most interesting characters in all of sci-fi horror. We get to hear them talk to each other, and that is great. Because now you're not just we all know the lore of the Predators, the honor and stuff. But now we're getting to understand the thought processes.
Well, the society itself, not just them as hunters, but like, and it's interesting because one of those stories in the comic I was talking about, the Black, White, and Blood Predator comic, which I will be covering January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. On the Horror Show Shorts and the Horror Show Cecil TikTok channels, Horror Show Shorts on YouTube, Horror Show Cecil on TikTok, because it's really interesting. But one of the stories is during the Old West, when a predator has been captured and one of his arms has been cut off and he's kept in chains to fight dogs as like entertainment for this little Old West town. But eventually he like frees himself and some Yautja finally show up after being able to locate him finally, and they're like, look, you can come back to Yautja Prime. You can't be a hunter, but you can still serve the Yautja race. And it's like, damn, like that's a whole window into their race that we've never gotten before. I was like, shit, and this was the same kind of thing. Like windows into this race of creatures that we've seen only as enemies for since 1987, right? Like, so it's amazing that for 40 years we've seen these creatures, almost 40 years we've seen these creatures as one thing, and now like it's just been so successfully transitioned into like, wow, these guys can actually be characters that can carry a whole film. And like, I'm like, give me more,
Yeah. I was dreading the ending of this movie, not because
Like,
I
are
was
they
worried
gonna
if the
stick
ending
it?
was going to be good. I really wasn't worried about if the ending was
Okay,
going to be
fair,
good or bad. I was more worried about I wanted more time with the movie.
You're
I
like,
was
I'm not ready for this to end. Don't
I'm
break
not.
up
Make
with me
this
yet.
a 3-hour epic, please, please. Like when we were leaving the theater and I looked at the time, I was all, really? It was only that long?
Yeah, it was like only 135, 140. And
It-
like I
it-
checked, I was like, are there post credits at least? Like in the and no post credit scenes.
No, I'm blown away. This is probably for me one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh,
Easily.
yeah, it's easily going to be in
Easily.
my top, at least my top 10, if not my top 5, because it's just pure cinematic fun that we don't
Yeah,
get.
and you don't have to watch any other Predator. You could be completely
True.
new person to the franchise and start with this one.
True.
And it's going to be awesome for you. It's going to be
100%.
awesome.
So yeah, let's talk about the filmmaking, the production design. We did talk about the locations. There was a sequence that was very Middle Earth, walking
Yeah.
New Zealand mountains, so there was a bit of that, but God, the production design and the locations were incredible. The production design of not only like Yaktja Prime is a pretty barren planet, but the little outpost that is Deck's home, and then eventually we see a more established Predator outpost, and then everything on Genna itself, the deathly, the most deadly planet in the universe. It's so well designed. The Predator ships, they have little land speeders essentially, but different versions of them, and all of it is just so interesting and clever, but cohesive, like fitting the design of Predator gear and even some additional Predator gear. Like it's the first time we've seen a Predator bow, which was dope, a laser bow. And it's like, wow, okay. So, and then not only that, but there was just simple, like a really cool extension. It's like their technology is amazing in that they have a reverse zip line thing that they can use, like so sick. Like it's just the creativity that was clearly abundant in this movie. The production design and the locations, the way everything looked was just A+ material.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I can't really argue on any of that. I was in awe with almost every shot. If I could have had a pause button to pause and look at each scene and look the fauna, the flora, the environment itself, just phenomenally done. And it's not like you go from one alien planet to another alien planet and it's like copy paste. Oh, they just kind of took the same assets. No, it's two totally different worlds, and it feels like two totally different worlds, and they feel huge. They feel ginormous, even though you're kind of traversing across them, like we were saying in Lord of the Rings. But it feels lived in. It doesn't feel like they're stuck in a little bubble inside of a room with a green screen, which may or may not be the case. I have no clue, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a real world around them.
It's funny. Let me know if this feels accurate to you, but it feels to me like it played as though someone took a Yautja and dropped him onto Skull Island from Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yes.
Where like everything
100.
everything wanted to kill him, and creatures that he had never seen before. Like you have to look every which way and up. You know what I mean? And it's just all the humans just get fucked when they're on Skull Island in Peter Jackson's King Kong, and that's what it felt like. It was like a Predator just dropped onto this its version of Skull Island, and it was so goddamn entertaining as a result.
That
of
is
it.
the perfect comparison.
Okay,
The perfect
good.
comparison right there. 100. Yeah, Skull Island, especially with I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Dang
Okay,
it.
but you get
Dang
it.
it.
You get it.
Yeah.
All right. So that leads us to the effects, I think, and there's going to be a lot of concern about this now. Yes, there is a lot of CG. There has to be a lot of CG in a movie like this. It takes place on an alien planet, following literally an alien whose entire facial structure moves differently than human facial structures. There's going to be a lot of CG. There's flora and fauna, as we've said a few times. The fauna being the animals, of course. They're alien creatures, so we won't have seen them. So yes, they may strike your head as fake because they don't exist, you know, but they don't look like CG creatures to me. Yes, there are plants, you know, flora, in other words, that do things that plants on Earth don't necessarily do, that necessitate CG augmentation to accomplish. But again, you know, if you give yourself over to the movie, the burden of expectation, or excuse me, not the burden of the suspension of disbelief, two different phrases that we talk about a lot in movies. Burden of expectations was met for me. So, yeah, otherwise, I don't know, I'm rambling a little bit, but the effects wise, the CG is to be expected, and it was really high quality, and none of it took me out of the film. So,
Yeah, no, I didn't feel like the CG was bad. It's not like you're watching Mortal Kombat's Goro, and I will always go back to that as a comparison. Dan.
the first one is good. Oh, the
No,
new Mortal
no.
Kombat?
No,
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the last one that came out. Or
Yeah.
that one. First Goro was
CG
awesome.
Goro, yeah. The practical Goro was amazing.
Oh yeah, real Goro was amazing. But I digress. It was good. You surrender yourself over to just the story of the movie. You're not going to notice the CG or any of the animals really be CG. Like you say, they're not real. They don't even have a premise in how they would physically be real, but they make it work. And with Deck being his face being slightly CG a little bit here or there.
I mean, anytime he's talking or
the mandibles.
Yeah.
But mixed with the environment, it works. It just does. I don't have any complaints on the CG in this movie. There's nothing that looks like it's out of place. There's nothing that looks like you're going to sit there and gaff and guffaw at it. It's pretty solid. And like you said, it's an alien movie. What else do you expect? It's not...
It's a lot of fun, too. Like, it does some things that might be considered silly from some people. Like, at one point, I won't give away how, why, or what, but at one point there is like an organic version of his shoulder cannon. But in practice, it's so cool and fun to watch play out. Like, everything that they do, like, you know, I can see that I can anticipate, just because, Jesus Christ, cat is just knocked over a bunch of Blu-rays. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, so...
Organic cannon. Wait a second.
Yeah, I don't remember. I completely distracted, but whatever. I guess I don't have a ton else to say. Again, trying to keep it spoiler-free, but needless to say, go see this in the theater. You don't have to see it with a packed house. You can see it at any point in the next 3 weeks. You know, Lord knows it'll be on streaming in week 5 or 6, you know, the way things are going nowadays. But this is one that absolutely, I would say Prey deserves to be seen in theaters, but it was not released in theaters. So I think Predator Badlands is your make good and is well worth the trip to the theater to go see.
Oh, yes, it is. Go watch this movie.
Yeah. So, absolutely, you guys, make sure you take the time to go and watch this. Take your friends, take your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your friends, your them friends, any of the friends. Have
your
fun
mimas,
with this
your
movie.
papas.
Your mimas, your papas, your uncles, your aunties, your tios, your tias, everyone and anyone. Go and watch. Have a good time. If you want to have a couple drinks beforehand, great. It's certainly not going to hurt the experience, but the movie is fun no matter what frame of mind you're in. So go have a good time at the cinema. Thank you very much to Allied for inviting us to go and see this screening. Thank you to all of you guys for watching, especially if you've watched all the way up to this point. Thank you to Mahalo for joining me for this review.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes.
Kidding me? Yes.
Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And I'm still Mahalo.
And remember, guys, stay scared.
Stay scared.